What's up, guys? Chaz, Charlie, and today we're going to discuss, am I weird? Am I lame? Am I the black sheep because I want to quit weed? Now, it's 2024 and weed is the most acceptable it has ever been in history. It's legal in many states. It's more of a social thing. It's not the same thing it was back, let's say 20, it's not even 10 years ago, but especially 10, 20, 30 years ago. Everybody smoked weed, from your parents to your friends to whoever. So weed is so socially acceptable now. If you do get to a point where you're like, I want to quit weed, or I feel like I shouldn't smoke weed, you actually may feel pressured, or should I say feel pressure to continue to smoke weed. It make you feel like, okay, why do you want to quit? It's not a big deal. It's not like alcohol. It's not like narcotics. You know, that's lame that you want to quit weed. It's just a herb, just a plant. What, are you weak-minded? All these things are put in our face if we're trying to quit, especially in a group that may continue to still smoke weed. So you may find yourself in a point in life where, you know, it's eating at you that you are smoking weed and you want to quit. And you may be around a group that, again, smokes weed, and they may make you feel like a black sheep for you wanting to quit. Because you going against the grain is always going to present some type of resistance for yourself, and also resistance against those around you. And I will say, we shouldn't be so compelled or so motivated by others around us. We are our own person. We do live our own life. And peer pressure starts in high school, but it can continue on until all points of your life. And not only are we dealing with peer pressure with our friends or our immediate circle, you know, we are peer pressure by the media, by society. We have stars, media, television that also promotes weed as being this social acceptable thing. People may say that it's a attack, a war on drugs against weed. I don't think that really weed falls into that category. We know that even though alcohol is legal, most people know if you drink every day, that's not good for you. We of course know if we get into narcotics and get addicted, that's not good for us. But if we smoke a blunt or a joint or a bong or an edible every day or every other day, that's fun. That's not a big deal. It's not going to really send your life into this spiral. Therefore, when you are in a position that you want to quit weed, you may be alone. Most people who get addicted to weed will continue to smoke their whole life. And I think now, of course, that weed is legal in many states, just like alcohol is, we don't see it as a major thing. If it's been legalized, then it must not be a bad thing. I do think they have made weed legal on purpose, because although it doesn't, of course, doesn't wreck your life like things like alcohol, narcotics, I think it does dumb us down, keeps us blinded, keeps us numb, keeps us distracted. We have so much going on in the world today, from politics to agendas to whatever. It's a lot of stuff that they want us to be distracted from. So why not throw some weed into the mix? If you smoke some weed, it may make you look deep into something, but you still have a pretty carefree attitude about it. So anyway, as a side note, you may be in a time where you want to quit weed, and people are saying, like, you're weird, like, you're lame, like, you've been smoking all this time, then, you know, why quit now? When you are changing and people feel you changing and you're not the same person you were, people do want to keep you in that same position because they're in that position. Nobody wants to be alone. So they don't want to be alone smoking, weed with themselves, and you don't want to be alone saying that, I don't want to smoke weed anymore. But I think if you are having that contemplation in your life, in your head, you're having it for some kind of reason. If I have to think about it, if I don't just do it and just am carefree about it, if I still have this small person on my shoulder saying, I shouldn't be doing this, you probably shouldn't be doing this. And we shouldn't let our friend circle dictate how we feel about that. And I'll tell you, if your friends make you feel bad about quitting weed, or if that actually becomes a disconnect for you and your friends, and that's the main thing that keeps y'all in common, it's time for y'all to probably, distance yourself anyway. We always want to feel a part of some type of group. We do want a sense of community. And if we have been in a position where we have been in a circle that put weeds on this pedestal, it may feel scary or lonely to break yourself away from that. And when you're the lone wolf and nobody's doing what you're doing, you can also kind of fool yourself and say, maybe it's me, maybe I am being lame. So a lot of times we will stun our own growth because we're afraid of what people might say, what people might think, what people might do, I guess. More so be what people might think, because I don't know what they would do to you if you didn't smoke weed, but I guess not be your friend. And if that's the case, then they probably want your friend in the first place. Or you may be in a position where your family smokes weed, your parents smoke weed, and you say, well, if they do it and I'm, is it me? Maybe I'm making a bigger deal out of this than what I should. And then what I realized after I did quit, when I did make this channel, I was not aware of so many people who actually was, I guess, against people who are ex-weed smokers, or against people who say weed is addictive. Some people say, a lot of people say weed is not addictive. If you want to just quit, just quit. People who struggle with weed addiction are just weak people. I'm using bunny ears, weak people. But I really think that's not fair to people who smoke weed or who's battling with weed addiction, because we can fall addicted to anything. And it's just so weird that when you do say, I want to quit weed, they're like, okay, like, who wants to quit weed? Like, is it really messing with your life that much to, you have to quit? But don't let people shame you out of getting to another level. We should all be trying to be a different person than what we were yesterday, last week, last year, 5 years ago, 10 years ago. And also, with me personally, I got tired of being labeled the weed head. You'll see somebody from 10, 15 years ago, and they're like, you still smoke weed? And I'm like, why is that the first thing that you associate me with? I got tired of being labeled as a weed head, something so insignificant being linked to your personality, your persona, your whole identity. So you may want to quit weed because you just don't want to be known as the weed head anymore, and people may actually label you lame or uncool or a square or a dub because you don't want to be your same self that you were in your early 20s and your teens. So if you are on this journey, if you are trying to quit weed, you feel alone, if you feel alone, maybe I actually like to feel alone. There are times that you may question yourself, and I'll say, is it me? Am I making a big deal out of it? But in most cases, if you're if you are going against the grain, if you are going against what the majority is doing, you're probably doing the right thing. There are going to be more and more people smoking weed. Weed's only going to get more and more acceptable, seeing that this newer generation is all about anxiety and depression and needing help and wanting crutches and wanting excuses, and weed being legalized. Weed is only going to get more use. Should I say? Maybe that's not the best way to say it, but even my wife told me, she was like, when I was gonna make the channel, she was like, do you think people like want to hear that? Because people, like, who is quitting weed now? People want to smoke weed, which, I mean, she is correct, but there will be a small select of people that are recognizing for themselves maybe this isn't the best avenue, and I want to speak to those people. So guys, if you are on your journey, you're alone, you're trying to quit, folks are saying you're lame for quitting, what do you feel? Is it easy for you? Is it hard for you? I would like to know. Please comment below. Until next time, guys, please like, subscribe, share, and remember, we are all in this together. Peace.